So I think those teams, and of course Ghana also they are part of West Africa. But I'm not saying Ghana will win the AFCON Cup of Nations, but I think the Ghanaian national team with the likes of Mohamed Kudus in that team, and
Yeah,
Chris Hutton
let's
is
look at
there.
let's look at 2 days ago. I think the Ghanaians were probably one of the last people that are coming out to their list
They
to
released their
for this
list.
tournament. Yeah, so which is on Sunday by their manager, former Huddersfield manager.
That's
What's his name
Chris
now?
Hutton.
Chris Hilton.
Chris
If
Hutton,
you look at
yeah.
if you look at the defenders, they have the usual suspects in that defender: Gideon Mensah, Hamad Abdul Fattah, you know, Amati that plays for Leicester City, Nicolas Opoku, Alexandra G, G2 and Mohamed Salisu. Salisu plays for Southampton, Anthony Schneider, and Dennis Odion. And finally, on that defense, you have Alain Bouchoudin. So if you look at the defense, um, you see, when I compare what they have with what the Super Eagles have, I think for them their defense is much more balanced compared to the Super Eagles. And even when you look at the caliber of players, these are real defenders that they have in there. Misalsu plays left back, the Amate plays right back, so you know where they are going to Mensah wants to defend. It's much more straightforward. Your Mensah plays the central defense, and you can either have the pairing of him or him and Anthony Schneider in that defense. So if you look at the defense, I did the usual suspects. Do you think that Christian really did justice to it?
Well, I think them going forward, they have better players, just like the Super Eagles. And of course, Salisu is playing in the Championship, which also is a very competitive football in England. So that group for them, I think they have the players to actually progress and give up a fight. But when you look at their last matches, okay, in fact, their last match they
Yeah,
played against Comoros, they lost that game by 1 goal to nil. And before then, they came up
exactly.
against United States of America and they lost by 4 goals to nil. In fact, they've been conceding a lot of goals in their last few matches. But you could say them those matches are friendly. But even when they played World Cup qualifiers or AFCON Cup of qualifiers, they tend to concede a lot of cheap goal. You know, those days that they used to have the likes of John Painsil, good
Yeah.
players for them, the 2006 AFCON, and also I think when they qualified for the FIFA World Cup for the first time ever. So you think they will concede goals, but going forward, you feel maybe if they concede 1 goal, they should be able to score two to write off that 1 goal that they conceded. But you have to lock up shop. You don't always think that okay, because you know how to score goals, then you'll be conceding. There comes a time, or a time will come, or we've seen it in time past, where a lesser team will score 1 goal and they will defend for the entire 90 minutes, and you'll be asking why has the better team not scored? Because other why has the better team they've not scored because the other guys are protecting their defense, they are protecting their goalkeeper and all that. But of course, Ghana they will have their first match of the AFCON against Cape Verde, and that one will be
Exactly.
played on the 14th of January. Then, of course, their second match in that group will be against the Pharaohs of Egypt, while the last match will be against Mozambique. So it's possible, or if the first match against Cape Verde, if they lose that match, then of course they will be in deep problem because they know the second match is against the Pharaohs of Egypt. So it's very important for Chris Hughton and his men to get their first 3 points in their first match that they'll be up against Cape Verde, which is not going to be an easy team to beat. But you want to believe in the likes of Iñaki Williams. Iñaki Williams is playing for the Ghana national team.
Yes.
Why
I
his
think
younger brother
younger
Nico
brother is playing
Williams is
for.
playing for Spanish national team? So I think their
Yeah.
parents will be very proud of them and all that. So um, they both play for Athletic Club or Athletic Bilbao, as you want to call them, or in the Spanish and top division. And Athletic Club is doing very well this season. So you can say both Williams are doing well for their club this time around, but sometimes club form doesn't translate to national team because, of course, this is a different terrain, this is a different weather, this is a different environment. You're playing with different players. Most times you tend to have maybe world class players in your club side. When you come to national team, you don't have them. But we can say for the bigger countries or the best footballing playing countries, the likes of Argentina, France, Spain, they have good players or better players in their national team. So where you have that understanding, where there is room for you to show your quality and all that. So I think Ghana, they are
Okay.
West Africa like us. I feel they will qualify
I
from
want us
that group.
okay. I want us to look at the defense. I was looking at the defense. I mean the midfield. Sorry. And in the midfield, you was told that they have more players in the midfield than what they have in the attack. I think the attacking front, they just have three players. They have the likes of Yankee Williams and Anton Semedo. You know Anton Semedo that plays for Fulham. This either Fulham or I think it should be no, no, not Fulham. He plays for Bournemouth. Then Jonathan Suway. You see, they only have three players up front. But in the midfield, you see that midfield is packed full of. I don't know why people shoot on the midfield like that, but midfield is packed with a whole lot of players. You have the Ayu brothers, Nafi Ayu and you have Mohamed Kudus who plays for I think he's the sixth biggest earner of his time. No matter any team that anybody talks about. You have Lamptey. Lamptey plays. I think Lamptey plays for Brighton. They have a whole lot of players in that midfield that can cause a whole lot of damage to any team in the world. Even with the absence of their captain and their talisman
Thomas Partey. Yeah.
yes. Do you really think that with these players that they have in the midfield, they can really go ahead? Because you remember that even the likes of the Ayu brothers, they are just like strikers as well. They can score goals. So it makes them look dangerous and unpredictable because once you have the Yaki Williams and Tosumayo playing up front, you can virtually take one of them and play Mohamed Kudus in the left or in the right, and play one of the party, one of maybe two of the Ivy brothers in the midfield, and you have a sitting person in the middle. Do you really think that they have the right mix? Because I'm comparing to the that of Nigerian Super Eagles. Nigerian Super Eagles, they have fewer players in the midfield and more players up front. I don't understand. Maybe different coaches, different approach that they bring in. So, how do you think that this midfield will be able to cope with the pressure, especially when you know that they've been shipping in goals, leaking in goals? I mean, the Ghanaian side, the leaking in goals. How do you think they'll be able to cope with the pressure of helping the defense not to ship in goals and also helping the strikers to put more on the side?
Well, if you look at their World Cup squads, and that's 2022 World Cup squad, I know they were part of the World Cup. They were in a
Yeah,
group that consists Portugal, South Korea, there, but I can't remember the other team. And they in their first match against Portugal, I guess they scored them 2 goals, so they even though they ended up losing that match. They have a notable absentee from that midfield or from that team, and that's Thomas Partey, Tariq Lamptey. Of course, he plays in the English Premier League. He's not also there. Then you have Baba Rahman, who also went to the World Cup. Then also a certain player, Suleimana. Of course, he was part of their World Cup squad, or he played their matches, but he's not
yeah,
in this squad or in this team. Some players did not make the cut, but those players that I mentioned, I think injury was the major factor that they were not or they are not part of this current squad for the 2023, 2024 AFCON Cup of Nations in Cote d'Ivoire. So, but with the little players or with the likes of Schneider, the likes of Mensah in that midfield, you also have a certain Nicolas Opoku. I think
yeah,
a lot of us have seen him in the Nations Cup before and also the World Cup tournament too. You want to believe those players will be able to give their all, or those players has what it takes to actually play for the Ghana national team at the highest level. But of course, they are going to miss key players in that team. But when most times when key players are not there, you expect other players to step up because it's about stepping up. If at the end of the day, the Ghana national team goes ahead to win the AFCON Cup of Nations, all those players that are part of it will get the glory. And you tend to see
yeah.
that when they say best midfielder, best defender, or best goalkeeper, you tend to see that most times the team that wins tournaments, they tend to produce those players. Most times, player of the tournament, best attacker, best midfielder, best defender, best goalkeeper, or golden glove, as you want to call it. So I think the Ghana national team, they are poised and they are ready for the AFCON Cup of Nations. It's going to be tough for them because they are missing a vastly experienced and a very wonderful player in Thomas Partey, who is not going to be there, and also Baba Rahman, who has been very influential for them. He's not also going to be part of that team due to injury. Then you also have Sulemana that will be missing. So the Ghana national team, I must say they are ready. Chris Hughton has his work cut out as regards this AFCON Cup of Nations.